Hello students, I have been summarizing the story of the novel The Guide written by R.K. Narayan, and this is going to be the last episode, and I will wind up the story in this episode. Earlier I told you that Raju, after getting released from the prison, goes to a temple on the banks, situated on the banks of a river, and takes rest there. Suddenly a villager comes to him and starts talking about his personal matters. He tells that his daughter is not marrying the person whom he wants her to marry. Raju says, "Bring her to me, I will persuade her to do so." He brings her and Raju persuades her to marry the desired person, and she gives her consent. The villagers are very happy to know this thing. They think that Raju has special powers. Raju is a saint. Raju is a holy man. Raju enjoys this status for a few days because he thinks that they are offering him bread and butter. So okay, but what happens? You have seen these things, you have heard these things from the previous videos. Let's discuss other things, what happened. Raju recalls his previous incidents, his earlier life, and he thinks about Rosie, how he fell in love with her, and how Rosie, separated from her husband. This went on, and later on, Raju became a manager and Rosie a dancer, and there were performances and they earned a lot of money, and their bank balance kept on expanding, enhancing, and thus Raju succeeded in encashing Rosie's talent. They shifted to a big posh house and led a luxurious life. However, as time elapsed, Rosie was fed up with her mechanical, with her monotonous, with her materialistic life. At times, not regularly, but at times she felt that she committed a great blunder by separating from her husband. She remembered her husband and felt that her art had become too much for her. Her husband is living a lonely life. He was a scholar, he was a historian and whatnot, and she, needlessly insulted him. Meanwhile, Marco, her husband, sent a copy of his published book to Raju, in which he had acknowledged his gratitude to him. Raju concealed this book. Raju did not show it to Rosie, thinking that the book will again arouse dormant feelings for Marco in Rosie's heart. However, when Rosie read the review of his book, review of Marco's book, review of her husband Marco's book in a newspaper or in a magazine, she was elated. She was extremely happy to read about that book, to read the review. The scholars had praised Marco for his insight, deep insight into the history and other things. And Rosie told Raju about it. And later on, when she came to know about Raju's concealment of the book, she was extremely annoyed, beyond control. Then a registered letter for Rosie arrived which mentioned that after signing an application from Rosie would be able to what? To procure a jewelry box which had been deposited in the bank by Marco. Raju received the letter. Raju was very possessive about Rosie. He feared that as soon as Rosie would know about this, she may develop a soft corner for her husband. She would know about this magnanimity of Marco, and mentally she might move closer to her husband again. She might leave Raju. So what could he do now? He wanted her to stop with him. So once again he committed a serious blunder. What did he do? He forged Rosie's signature. Forged false signature. Marco discovered this fraud. Marco knew Rosie's signs. So when he saw a different kind of sign on the paper, he discovered that there might be something wrong. So he informed the matter to the police. Raju was arrested and sentenced to 2 years imprisonment. Although Rosie was contemptuous of this fraud, this deceit of Raju, she did not like this thing. She was shocked to learn that Raju could go to this extent. But yet she wanted to meet him in the prison. She cried. She consoled him. When she went there to meet him, she cried, she consoled him, she sympathized with him, and did everything possible to help him. Raju was very cooperative and disciplined in the prison, and he was considered a model prisoner for his good behavior, for his good conduct, for his positive attitude. He thoroughly enjoyed his stay in the prison. He did not create any problem, neither did the jailers hate him. No, they were happy. Jailers were happy and Raju was happy. He enjoyed his stay there at the prison. He felt depressed when he was released. He became friends with others, and again the action moves to the present, where Raju is sitting in the temple. Raju, narrated these things to Velen now, or he thought about his past life. Now again the action shifts to the present, where he is sitting in the prison. And Velen, when he listens to the honest confessions about his past life, Raju's past life, he thinks that Velen will disgrace him. But when he narrates the whole thing, to his great surprise, Velen still addresses him as Swamiji. Raju reluctantly observes the fast. He doesn't want to observe, but reluctantly he observes the fast and acquires the facade of a saint. Accepting this responsibility, Raju begins the ritual. What ritual? Of fasting. He observes the fast, though not wholeheartedly, but reluctantly. But he observes it. Each day, although he remains hungry, he finds within himself a new sense of fulfillment. His body grows weaker day by day, to the point where he can't even walk without the villagers' support. He becomes too weak to stand. He becomes too weak to walk. But this bodily impoverishment is accompanied by an emotional delight. He thinks that, okay, the villagers have faith in me, and I should, not disappoint them. This goes on. So he feels emotionally delighted that he is of any use, some use to the villagers. And then Raju drops down one day. He is too weak. The ending is confusing. Ending of the novel. This is the end of the novel. He falls down. So the ending is confusing because the reader cannot understand whether it actually rains or was Raju's final observation just a hallucination. He sees that water is coming in the river. The river is expanding. So readers don't know whether it is hallucination or whether there is, the rain has started in the mountains. Something that was not happened in reality, but was just a vision perceived by Raju. It might be a hallucination. Nobody knows. Even the writer does not clear this thing in the novel. He leaves the story suddenly. Regardless of the reality of the rain, Raju's death certainly marks his journey from being a tour guide in Malgudi to a spiritual guide in Mangal. So this is a long journey. Raju has undergone various changes in his personality. He has learned many things in his life. Characteristically, Narayan does not make it clear whether Raju's penance does actually lead to rain. The writer also doesn't make much of Raju's decision, the moment of his redemption, which a lesser writer would have attempted to turn him into a great, ending, a powerful ending, but which is equally passed over here in a few lines. What we know in a moment of great disturbing beauty is something larger and more affecting than the working out of an individual, you can say, destiny. In an inhospitable world, he receives his ill fate as per his evil actions. Raju faces the consequences of his wrongdoings. But during his stay in the prison, he finds time for his moral and social transgression or transformation. The prison provides him at least an opportunity, an ideal opportunity, to look into the innermost regions of his soul and shake off his material and you can say social deceptions. Thereafter, Raju's character evolves gradually. After he is released from the prison, his character evolves gradually, and he becomes a ceaseless and ongoing process. By the end of the novel, Raju attains that selfless state like a saint. He becomes a real saint towards the end, or you can say at the end of the novel. And this sets the stage for his release from all the worldly shackles. First, he gets released from the prison. He is totally changed from them, and then at the end of the novel he is released from the shackles of the worldly desires, selfishness, all these things. He becomes a real saint, real guide at the end of the novel. So this is a long journey, and Raju's life is transformed totally at the end of the novel. He becomes a spiritual guide, a guru. And this is the beauty of the novel. And I have narrated the whole story in brief. Now you know full well who Rosie is, who Marco is, who is this fellow Raju, and Raju-Rosie relationship, and Raju's transformation from one stage to another. So this goes on in the novel, and it makes an interesting study. I hope you will enjoy the study of the novel, and there are many, there may be many questions regarding his character, regarding Rosie's character, Marco's character. I will discuss all these things in detail in the coming video lectures. But once you are acquainted with the story, I think there will be no problem if you read it thoroughly. You will enjoy the read. You will enjoy the story very much, and that's why it is the first step towards the enjoyment of the novel. Thank you very much for watching the video lecture patiently and with deep interest. Thank you very much.